Generally, all over the world, we are in the culture of tests, exams, and generally system of the schooling is preparing for the tests. I know it's a problem in America, in Europe as well, so and in Poland as well. So critical thinking is very often recognizes that we don't have time for this. Uh, what would you say to this, to the, let's say, teachers, especially teachers, but also parents who are pushing the teachers for the exams, not for the critical thinking? But generally, what would you say to futures who first, let's say, answer is yes, I think it's important, but generally I don't have time. So when they will, the politicians will change the curriculum, make it much, lower, less. Things to learn, then critical thinking could be adaptable, let's say, acceptable in my class. But in this moment, no time for this at all. Is there any question? Is there any, let's say, tip or recommendation for such a constraint, for such a limitation?
Well, as you know, there is not an easy answer to that. And there's no easy way in that situation. And that is typically what we do here. That's what we've always heard. That's what we've heard from the very beginning. It's not unique to any given country. It's the way that teachers are taught and the way that they think about schooling itself. And remember that Comenius said school is the slaughterhouse of the mind.
Yeah.
And if someone says they don't have time for critical thinking, then you could say, then in other words, you don't have time to teach your students how to reason well through your content. You don't have time to teach them those skills. You don't have time to teach them that within every subject, for example, if you're teaching science, there are purposes. You're not focused on the purposes. You don't care about the questions. You're not teaching them to ask their own scientific questions. You're not showing them that they're making scientific inferences based on scientific information when they're engaged in some kind of, let's say, experiment or reading about one. They're not aware that they're making assumptions. They don't, then that's not important to you. It's not important to you that there are implications of their thinking if they think scientifically or if they do not. And the fact is that all of the best teachers that have ever taught have advanced critical thinking in some ways, because otherwise they couldn't be the best teachers. They have taught their students to be more clear, or to be more aware of point of view, or to be making sure their thinking is relevant, to be able to look at information and to see whether it's accurate or not accurate. All of these are critical thinking moves, so to speak. And but you see, to make any argument that a teacher is going to accept will typically take time. And it will take time for you to be able to, or us to be able to teach them these tools. Because you can't embrace critical thinking if you don't know what it is. And you also can't deny it if you don't know what it is. So they're basically saying, I don't know what it is, but I'm denying it because I don't have time for it. And I could say, then what are you doing in the classroom? What are you doing there? If you're not teaching your students to be clear about what they're reading, to be able to see what assumptions are embedded in what they're reading, to be able to see what inferences are being made in what they're reading, what are you doing in the classroom? And so the schools of education have a lot to answer for here, because it's not the teachers that are to blame. It's the system that is to blame. And even the system, often the school systems are doing their best, but it's the academic side that has to hold the line. And that is the side. So colleges of education, colleges and universities generally are the ones that must be advancing critical thinking. And of course, that's how the teachers are going to learn it and see its value.
Thank you. It's a wonderful answer for this subject, for this question, for this, let's say, challenge for teachers. But yes, look at your denial from different perspective, and especially if you look from the perspective of the students. So this is for food for thoughts for all the teachers in Poland and all over the world. Okay,
But
so I will.
let me just add to that. And
Mhm.
teachers deserve
Mhm.
more. They deserve to be trained in these ideas.
Yeah.
They deserve to know and to have a rich conception of critical thinking.